Good morning. Welcome to Southeastern 16's Football Talk. I'm your host, Chris Lee, joined by Jay Greeson. Good morning to you, Tyler, one of our resident Missouri fans. We're going to be talking about mostly whatever you guys want to talk about on the show today. We are thinking of an Alabama-Florida direction because they're in Media Day. Mississippi State also is having its day in Atlanta. And also I'm forgetting one. Oklahoma. Yeah, that's right. The Sooners. John Mateer. That's a big topic I'm interested in unpacking today. Jay Greeson, start us off. Where do you want to go with Wednesday related topics to Media Day? We could also unpack some stuff from yesterday. We've got Arch Manning's performance and Josh Heupel's answers. Found both of them to be very interesting for different reasons. I'll let you pick our first topic and get us going.
Well, there are a lot of places to start. And I think, to be fair, the conversation starts with Alabama. I mean, this event almost every year, certainly in the Saban years and the last couple of years now without Saban in the league, it is Alabama's always the talk of this town, especially when it's in Birmingham. You and I have been to a number of these when it's a flat circus there in Hoover. And the guy with the ring headgear and folks who have 4 children named Bear, Bryant, Nick, and Saban, whether they're boys or girls. But it is, and to be fair, and I think there were some pointed and direct questions to Kalen DeBoer about how important this year is. I mean, while we have heckled Feinbaum and some of his salivating about certain quarterbacks in this league whose names may or may not sound like March Anning, but I think his point is fair about Kalen DeBoer is, look, Saban didn't go many years where he wasn't even he didn't go many back-to-back seasons where he wasn't making the playoff when it was 4 teams. You go back-to-back when it's 12 teams, and Kalen DeBoer, you're going to have some difficult questions to answer on the rubber chicken dinner circuit come February.
Well, Nick Saban only had, that I remember, 2 years that really missed expectations. One was the first year, and that wasn't him. That was the Louisiana Monroe beats them year, but that was a massive rebuild. I think next year they win a national title from memory. The other one was it the 2011 team that got beat by Steven Garcia in South Carolina? That was like a super talented team. I think they just lost a bunch of close games. So, from that, I mean, it felt like they were right where they needed to be the rest of the time. I would still argue that I think I would have put Alabama in the playoff last year. I get why it didn't make it there. But to me, that all that's irrelevant at this point in a way. Now, if they underachieve and we're getting to the end of the year and Auburn beats them to top it off, then we're having a very different conversation. But I'll tell you this, one place I always look for who's going to have a good football team is in the trenches. And I don't think that anybody in the league, if you listen to what the experts say and value their opinions, which include everybody thinks Caden Proctor's a first-round pick, LT Overton is maybe a first-round pick, same with Tim Keenan the third. That's an offensive lineman and 2 defensive linemen, not to mention your first-team All-American center in Brailsford and some other good ones in there too. I think Alabama, we'll see where the quarterback thing goes. We'll see where does this implode under its own pressure goes. But in the trenches, Jay, feels like to me that they are set up as well as anybody in the league and even better than Texas.
Certainly on the offensive side of the ball, across the line of scrimmage. But everything has the but contingent for anything with Kalen DeBoer right now. Because, but these are still all guys Saban brought. But Saban would win more than you. But are we falling behind Georgia and now Texas in this league? So, look, man, I don't know how Jeff Dantzler has done as well as he's done replacing Larry Munson, because being the guy after the guy is a daily kick to the nuts. So, I mean, it's tough. And being the guy who's going to follow Saban, look, man, the guy who had to touch up the Sistine Chapel probably cuss Michelangelo every damn day. So
yes,
it's a tough road to hoe, but I don't know if he's going to do it. I mean, 3 years from now, Kalen DeBoer, national title or gone? What you betting on? Because I'm saying gone.
If you had to make me pick one of the two, I would say gone, because I think getting a natty, I think it's harder to stack them than it's ever been. Heck, it's hard to get one, period. You had how many teams last year? If we're replaying the college football playoff 100 times with last year's field, how many teams do you think win it? You know, 3 or 4 times at least. Okay, your teams would be who?
Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas.
Okay.
The same 3 teams I'm picking this year. I mean,
right.
And that's the point, Chris, because the Alabama fans believe they need to be in that 3. Every conversation on this platform, on the SEC network, Phyllis from Mulga, in the halls at Bristol, if they're not in the 3, then you're failing, Kalen DeBoer, simply put.
Sure.
And that's because of the guy who did it before you, because he was always in the 3.
Yeah. I could argue, had they gotten in last year, they could have been one of the teams that won it a few times in that scenario. It never happened. I guess it's pointless. But I don't know. Do you think Alabama, put all the pressure expectations aside, do you think they have a roster that could win it this year?
From positions 2 to 22? Absolutely.
You're worried about
position
one.
1
right.
is QB1.
Right.
Are you hey Mr. DeVille, Ty Simpson, you ready for your close-up? Because here it comes, brother.
Okay. Is the concern we don't know? Is there a concern that Ty Simpson's not the guy?
I think both of those are a concern. I mean, here is I think it's a concern if you don't bring your quarterback to media days. Because then, as Spurrier always said, and man, oh man, Spurrier was a genius. But as Spurrier always said, if you've got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. So if you're still at this point, and I think, and we'll talk about some of the recap of yesterday, Heupel not bringing Joey Aguilar is a telling move to me. It may be as telling a thing as that came out of his mouth.
Yeah. Is there a world in where Keelan Russell's their guy?
Hell yeah. Because the philosophy really, especially in a difficult scenario like Kalen DeBoer faces, is you can directly deal 2 things. You can deal success and everybody will lap it at the dog bowl and come back for seconds. Or you can deal hope. But Ty Simpson, if Ty Simpson's not going to deal in success, he does not offer hope. Keelan Russell is a guy who perpetuates hope. He's a 5-star dude who can really move.
Okay, give me a guess. Starts by quarterback at Alabama this year. How does it break down?
I think, and I'm rooting for the kid, even as an Auburn graduate, I think it's going to be Ty Simpson, and I think they're going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. I don't know if it's going to be Atlanta good. Schedule's got a couple of potholes in it, but I think they're going to be good. And I think Ty Simpson's going to deliver. But, I mean, you talked about the offensive line. He may go the month of September and not get touched. I mean, man, I'm 54 years old, and I can throw the ball to Ryan Williams. That's how good that kid is.
Yeah. I do wonder, the other name in this one we didn't mention was Austin Mack, right? Who had familiarity by being on that Washington roster with Ryan Grubb. Is that the little thing under the surface that is the wild card? Because he's gonna have a lot more familiarity of knowing what is expected in that offense than either of the other 2 guys on the team.
It absolutely could be, but if that's how this plays out and that doesn't work, you're going to have a whole lot of folks with a whole lot of houndstooth in their closet that are tired of hearing about how it worked at Washington. Because this ain't Washington.
Well, bigger threat to Alabama's season. The quarterback position or that's funny. The quarterback position or just the pressure around the program?
The quarterback position. Because the quarterback position can handle both of those. If Ty Simpson's him, if Austin Mack's him, if Keelan Russell's him, that handles everything else. Because I mean, and we did our Texas preview yesterday, and we really went out of our way to trying to nitpick a very good football team. This is not nitpicking Alabama because the pressure's real and the quarterback questions are real. But if the quarterback questions are answered, everything else will take care of itself because 2 through 22, they're not apologizing to anybody.
Could you argue that their opener is more important than anyone else's? I mean, I know it's not the toughest one. It's at Florida State. I think in the discussion, Hugh Freeze, if it goes badly at Baylor, then we've talked about that can of worms. I think LSU, Clemson, hey, Brian Kelly loses his opener every year. That's almost a mulligan. But, again, expectations are starting to mount. And other than that, I can't really see one in the conversation. But, I mean, it feels to me like they need to get off to a really good start in Tallahassee or, boy.
I mean, I think there will be a lot of noise around that type of scenario. I think Hugh Freeze going to Waco is twice as big, if not 3 times as big, because his seat is twice as hot, if not 3 times as hot, as Kalen DeBoer in year 2.
Yeah.
But your conversation is fair, and it's especially fair. One of the things you referenced yesterday in regards to Arch Manning in one of our conversations is what happens if he goes to Columbus and throws 3 picks and a loss at the Ohio State. That won't be as negatively viewed or a cause for consternation among the Texas fan base as much as if Ty Simpson goes to Tallahassee and throws 3 picks and Alabama gets upset, because then you're gonna have some hand wringing and some dogs are gonna get kicked in trailer parks across the great state of Alabama.
Well, now, the thing that he's got in his back pocket a little bit is recruiting's going pretty well. So if you're going to look for one thing that can get you some grace in that scenario, by the way, I think they will go to Tallahassee and win. We're just outlining what could go wrong because, man, when it goes wrong in the SEC, it is spectacular. But that's one thing that I think he's got in his back pocket that could maybe buy him a little bit more patience than you would normally get in that circumstance.
Potentially, but, I mean, again, he's following Mozart when it comes to recruiting. I mean, He's picking up the baton from the guy who's the best to ever do it.
Right.
And I'm an Auburn graduate.
Right. Speaking of which, he's killing the guy in his own state at that, which is not lost on the Auburn fan base either, as you know.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many 5-star recruits are on the 17th green as Hugh's lining up a makeable 7-footer for par.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. Question's going to be, do you buy Alabama as a playoff contender? Do you buy Alabama even as an SEC championship contender? I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Before we do, reminder, our friends at GameTime Sidekicks sponsor the show. They offer officially licensed stainless steel drinkware, all SEC schools, over 350 other universities. It is top of the market quality in terms of construction and ice retention. Also heat retention. Jay Greeson, when your coffee goes in that thing, it stays hot for a while, does it not?
This is my morning coffee, and I just spilled it on myself. And it's 12:18 in the afternoon in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it's still hot.
Well, listen to this.
Game time sidekick.
I filled this sucker up about 4.5 hours ago. You can hear the ice still rattling in it. It is not only something that will do with your drinks what it's supposed to do, it's also a work of art. Their pieces are beautiful. They are very reasonably priced. They've got designs and logos for everybody. They got your national championship stuff. So if your team has won a natty in football, baseball, basketball, Game Time Sidekicks has got you covered there. Everything from stainless steel, sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. They've even got the college vault line. Anyway, SE16 gets you 20% off your order at GameTime Sidekicks. Go there, help the folks who help our show. All right, back to your question. You buying Alabama as a title contender in the SEC and as a playoff participant. If you had to say, I'll tell you the first thing. Yes or no on Alabama in the playoff? Gun to your head, your life depends on it.
I'll say yes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Title contender in the SEC. Now, part of that's going to be schedule. They've got Georgia, but that's at home. They've got Tennessee. That's also at home. They've got South Carolina. I believe that's also in Tuscaloosa. Or is that in Gainesville? I'm not sure. Either way, I think they can win that one. Yeah, what do you say?
Win the SEC? No.
Okay.
And it's because I don't think they're better than Georgia. I like Gunnar Stockton more than I like Ty Simpson. And I think Texas has a tremendously doable schedule. So
that's quite a word.
Yes. I've been known to make up a few words from time to time.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the major online betting sites has Alabama as a minus 184 favorite to make the playoff, which means you got to bet $184 to win 100. So that's almost a 2-to-1. You got to give up 2-to-1 on Alabama making the playoff.
Where do they stand in the odds?
They are, depending on what lines you want to look at and which sites you use, you can find it up to plus 1,500 to win it all. Man.
Okay. Well, I mean, I take that back. South Carolina's a road game, but still they've got some games against some big boys. Georgia, Tennessee, Carolina, LSU, Auburn, Oklahoma. I mean, that's
a tough schedule now. And that's the reason I think
that's half the schedule of teams that can beat you. Right.
Than to win the league.
Yeah. They just need to get through it and get there. Because you could face an easier road in the playoff than you face in that gauntlet if you catch the right breaks. Okay. Moving on next, let's talk Florida. Because I feel like the more that I look at what Florida's got, I'm buying in a little bit more. Again, starting in the trenches, they got some first round dudes there on both sides of the ball. They've got a quarterback who's, maybe going to be the best one they've had since Tim Tebow. Same situation though. A lot of pressure coming into the season. What do we think of the Gators?
Well, I've always described it as the Tebow theory, named after the iconic former Florida star. But when you've got any type of team, whether it's my daughter's 14-year-old travel softball team, whether it's the Florida Gators in the SEC, whether it's the Carolina Panthers, it doesn't matter. When your best player becomes your hardest worker, you can achieve truly great things. And I believe DJ Lagway has stepped into that role not only as a good football player, and we've got some DJ detractors in this chat, and some of their points are valid, that he's going to have to be physically, he's elite. He is going to have to get better at his secondary and tertiary reads, or this league's going to eat him up. But I think the sky is the limit for DJ Lagway.
Yeah, no, he's got a playmaker in Eugene Wilson. That's going to help. We'll see on the rest of the cast. But, I mean, I just thought what he did a year ago under the circumstances, and, again, you look at NFL drafts and stuff like that, and you're starting to see, your Austin Barbers, your Jake Slaughters, your Tyreek Sapps pop up as potential first-round guys one day, not to mention DJ Lagway. This just feels like – I feel like the last few years, Jay, we would look at Florida and it's like, okay, they've got guys, they got draft picks, but they're third, fourth, fifth round picks. It's not the Steve Spurrier's mid-90s Gators that we grew up on, where everybody talked about the offense, but oh, by the way, they got first-round defensive linemen, linebackers, and DBs too. I'm not saying they're there yet because they're not. But it feels like the biggest obstacle that I think Billy Napier had to get through was just all the pressure around everything. And I feel like if Billy Napier got through last year, when they have a tough start, they've got a an unbelievably tough schedule. Maybe the toughest schedule I've ever seen in the regular season of college football. And it's already going badly in September when your head is on the chopping block before the first kickoff of the first game. Everything was there for them to fail. And not only did they not fail, they came out with optimism heading into this year, which also is easier to come by when everybody thinks your quarterback is I don't know if generational talent is the word, but put whatever label you want to put there. I just feel like this is headed more in the direction of what Florida used to be than what Florida's been the last 10 years or so.
I mean, I don't know if I can even tag anyone with a generational talent type of label, but what he did do was he saved Billy Napier's job. He galvanized the program. He wouldn't let the season get away from him. He helped a late surge in recruiting, and he came back to give, as Sam called it, one of the most powerful drugs anywhere, is way more than in any time in recent memory. The Florida Gators have hope.
Who does Lagway remind you of? Do you have a comp in your head?
A little bit, maybe a smaller version of Reggie Slack, my freshman year at Auburn. I tell you, maybe a step slower version of Damian Craig.
Okay, who was a really good college quarterback. I thought a very underrated one, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he got Auburn to the SEC championship game that they lost to Peyton, and they should have won if who's his pants catches that wide open touchdown pass from a kid from East Coweta County, who I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, got a whole lot of tools. And now Sean is correct here. That was a generational talent.
Yes.
Vince was a boss.
If you gave Vince Young Tim Tebow's head, you know, he might, well, I don't know if he'd still be playing, but it would have, you know, it would have been headed towards the Hall of Fame by now. And I think DJ Lagway feels like he's got some maturity there.
I agree with that.
That was, and I'm always looking to that for my quarterback first. I'm always looking, like, the self-destruct switch is a big thing with me. And if your quarterback's talented and he doesn't have that, then that's a pretty good start.
Look at the big brain on Max. That's a great comp. That is a great comp. And Florida fans everywhere saying, please, dear Lord, let it be. Because, man, I don't know how Walter Clayton fell as far as he did in the draft.
Yeah. Well, not your point guard, but running your offense like a guard is what I meant to say.
Just, man, what a shot maker that dude was.
Yeah. Yeah. The slate this year, a little bit easier. I mean, it can't be tougher than last year. But this year they get a couple of, well, South Florida's a rivalry game, so you never know. But they catch some breaks. Okay, that you got a chance to go 2-0. You go to LSU. You lose that one. Everybody can get it. But then you got Miami and Texas, but this time they're home.
Well, last year's schedule, I mean, there are survivors from the Spanish Inquisition who's going, man, that was a brutal schedule. That was a tough run.
Right.
I mean, so you get those at home. And here's the one caveat with all these teams that have truly arduous slates. You may get in the 12 at 9-3 if you're Florida. I mean, if those three are at Baton Rouge, at home against Texas, and in the cocktail party, who's going to tell that 9-3 Florida team no?
Well, and here's what you will have banked if that happens. You will have banked home win against Miami, road win at A&M, win at Ole Miss, home win against Tennessee. I mean, I feel like, plus Florida State, whatever that turns out to be. Again, it's sometime, don't we have to move towards the place where we treat college football resumes like we do basketball? I mean, I explain to me the disconnect there as an aside, where quality wins didn't matter. All that mattered were how many games did you lose?
I can't explain it because it's nonsensical to me. And as we have kicked around a couple of times, I think high on the checklist of the College Sports Commission or whatever mumbo jumbo BS title they're putting on this thing that's going to try to regulate NIL and portal and all that other stuff. Get a dang journalist in the room and shed some transparency on this process, because there's too much at stake. There's too much at stake across the country. There's too much. I mean, you're not giving anybody any direction or outlining any of your metrics or checklists or requirements or any of it. And so, sure, they're going to expand it in another year or two, something I loathe that we've talked about before, but we know it's coming. So, but if they're not going to share the checklist on how you get in, then it doesn't matter if there's 24 teams in the damn thing.
Well, did they ever even tell us what the strength of schedule for every team was last year? Did we ever actually get that?
I never saw it.
Because we didn't have it going into Selection Sunday. They even said, here's the name of the firm that's doing it. I had a contact there. I contacted them and said, hey, can you just let me know a little bit something about this? Never heard back. Now, that could be a lot of things. Somebody could be busy. But to me, when you are fairly or unfairly, here's the conclusion I draw, Jay. When you're so opaque about your process that you can't answer basic questions or put basic things in front of people, that makes me think you are just doing something where you're going to predetermine your outcome, and you're not going to leave people with a lot of stuff to criticize you because you've left that part of your process, is a mystery. And I didn't like that. I don't know if that's fair, but it felt to me like the way all that went down last year just didn't feel right to me.
How many teams do you think you can name right now that the committee is going to pick? Ohio State, Georgia, Texas are in.
Yep.
I think Penn State's in.
Yep.
I think all those are good football teams. I'm not bashing any of those fan bases, but they're also power draws. Notre Dame's on the fringe. They're going to include Notre Dame. So that's 5 of 12 right there. You're going to have, and 2 of those, let's say, win the SEC and the Big 12 and the Big 10. So that's 5. You had 2 more conference champions, 3 more. The ACC, the Big 12, and then the group of 6. So I'm at 8 right now. I'd bet any amount of money on our playoff teams.
Okay.
So the rest of the country's playing for 4 spots.
Well, and this is why Greg Sankey is pushing strength of schedule, and this is why he's right. I put a comp together between Kelly Ford, SP Plus, FPI. Here where your SEC teams rank in that. Texas 1, Georgia 3, Bama 4, LSU 9, Ole Miss 10, Tennessee 12, A&M 13, Florida 15, Oklahoma 16, South Carolina 17, Florida 18. Jay Greeson, that's 11 of your top 18 teams from the SEC.
Is that last year's schedule or this year's?
No, that is this year's. How good nothing to do with schedule, but keep in mind these teams are all going to be playing each other. The Big Ten, in the meantime, here's what they've got in there: Ohio State at 2, Penn State at 5, Oregon at 6, Michigan at 11, and that's it. Next one outside that is Southern Cal at 21. Here's my point. With these unbalanced conference schedules and mega conferences, and the Big Ten's got more teams in the SEC, right?
Yep.
If you hit that, first of all, there's fewer teams in that bunch to play. And with more teams, more likelihood somebody's going to get that schedule that you don't have to face X, Y, and Z. I mean, if they don't fix that, we're looking at the same issue this year.
Well, it's how Indiana got home.
Exactly. It's how SMU got in there. And I'm not saying they're not good teams, but if you wonder why Greg Sankey is pushing this strength of schedule thing, that there it is right in front of you.
And speaking of strength of schedule, Jeff Lebby talked today. He spoke for 30 minutes and said absolutely nothing. Man, oh man, if you want your old school football coach of blocking, tackling, attitude, effort, physical, fierce, he checked every buzzword on the bingo card. I don't know if it's going to help him win a dang SEC game or not, but man, oh man, I looked up twice and thought, is Pat Dye speaking at this thing? Didn't he dead?
Yeah, I mean, I worry. Let's hear it.
All right. Apparently, my in-laws for about 20 years lived on Lake Martin, beautiful lake in Alexander City. And apparently, one year, one of their neighbors, when the lake goes down in the winter, walked out there and found a pair of pants with a belt and a wallet in it. Obviously at the lake bottom. Pulled out the wallet and it said Patrick Fane Dye. Pat Dye somehow had been done, as Louis Grizzard would say, buck naked in Lake Martin and his pants at the bottom of the lake.
How old was the driver's license?
Yeah, it was like from the early 80s, I think.
Oh man. And they found it when?
Oh, this was many, many, many years later. They were like those old coaches looking pants. I mean, fans of belt numbers. I mean, it was
fans of belt. See, it's too bad I didn't know you 5 years ago. I mean, when did Pat Dye pass away?
Oh man, it's probably been at least that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the why your pants at the bottom of the lake question would have made for fun podcasting, but jeez, that threw me off my game a little bit.
It was June 1, 2020.
Okay. Gosh, so we lost him in COVID. Right in the middle of all that. He had to be close to 90.
He was 81.
Okay.
Or he was going to turn 81 in November of that year.
Okay. Back to state a minute ago. I was on a podcast the other night, and someone asked me off the cuff. It was about vacancies. And you and I, we got our tier. I think we went through the hot seat tier. I think we had 4 guys. Let's see. We had tier 1 would have been, how do we do this? Sam Pittman, Hugh Freeze, Mark Stoops, and Brent Venables, right?
Yes, but I have come around to some of the thoughts about, I don't know if Kentucky can afford to fire Mark Stoops after this year.
Okay. So, yeah, in one sense of the word, he's on there, and another one, the realistic one, he may not be. But he's on the board if it's not going the way they like it. We said Alabama, LSU, Florida, and who else? I feel like we had another team in that tier of if it really goes poor, like coach probably isn't going to get fired, but if it goes really poorly, that could be a topic, right?
Yeah, and the only other one I could think of would be Clark Lee, but I mean, the conversation in and around Vandy is, if the wheels fall off, when are you going to have a better opportunity to do something special than Diego Pavia's 14th year in college?
Right. And this is kind of where I'm going with this one. Somebody said, give me one, and I went through all that for all the reasons, said, give me one that like is totally off the radar. and this is just, I have no information here. I'm speculating, but like you saw Chip Kelly a couple of years ago. Just said, I'm done with UCLA. I'm going back to a bigger school to be the OC. State feels like it is in a rough place with football. Again, it wasn't malfeasance. It just Mike Leach's passing set off a chain of events that was hard to recover from. They compounded it by making a wrong hire, and now they're 4 coaches in 3 years, whatever the answer is at this point. Where I'm going with this, was State putting a lot of resources into baseball? And with that being, like, if we were making a list of hard jobs in this league, just off the jump, Vanderbilt 16, 15 is either probably Kentucky or State. Fair?
I think that's fair. But conversely, in the portal area, no state in the union has more junior colleges than Mississippi.
Right.
I heard a stat on the SEC broadcast today that no state per capita in the union has more NFL players than the state of Mississippi.
Right.
And the biggest hurdle for State right now, and Jeff Lebby, and I think this is true universally across college sports, the difficulty gets ratcheted up when the other side of the Egg Bowl's in the playoff conversation every year.
Yes.
The difficulty at Alabama gets ratcheted up when Auburn's having success.
Yeah.
The difficulty at A&M is about to become even more strenuous because Texas is legit. Same with Oklahoma. When your rival's rolling, you best be figuring out a way to gain speed too. Otherwise, the Wolves are going to start howling.
Well, and that's my worry a little bit for Jeff Lebby, right? I feel like everybody thinks he's a good coach. Apparently a pretty easy guy to get along with, right? But if you've got that staring you down, look, you just lost your guy that was your starting quarterback at the end of last year. Now, look, maybe Blake Shapen was going to be that guy this year anyway. I don't know. So let's throw that out there. And he goes to LSU where he knows he's a backup because the guy he's behind is not only are you the backup there, you're like the backup without hope.
Yes.
Because Garrett Nussmeier might be the best player in the country, potentially. I just look at all this stuff and I go, if Jeff Lebby looks at this at the end of the year and it's not going well, the last thing you want to do is you don't want to bury your head coaching career 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in where it's a bad situation. You're a good coach, but there's nothing you can do. Again, I'm not necessarily even pointing the finger at Mississippi State. Bad stuff happened, and it just is. But somebody asked me for an off-the-radar scenario. I said, could you see something like that with him where he just says, hey, look, I don't see this going well soon. We don't have the resources other people have. I'm going to go start it over somewhere else, be an OC, kill it, and then get back in the game somewhere else where I've got a better chance as a head coach.
I don't know how many jobs Jeff Lebby's going to get. I mean, he can go be a coordinator and see.
No, that's what I'm saying. Do you make the Chip Kelly move where you step down from a Power 4 head coaching move to be a coordinator in a good spot, buy yourself a little bit more time, then get back into the head coaching game rather than go, let's say you look and go, I'm about to go 3-9 my next 3 years. At that point, he's never getting hired as a head coach again. That's a lot of projection. I get it. But when somebody asked that question, that was the thought that came to mind because of all the situations that could go poorly for reasons we can just identified. I did wonder about that a bit. I don't think you probably leave an SEC job for that. UCLA is not what UCLA was a long time ago, but it is an interesting thought because I think Jeff Lebby is a guy that's highly regarded. And you don't want to kill your coaching career in a spot where it's just not going to work out for the time being, reasons beyond your control.
What that little scenario led me thinking, though, is the conversation as a fan base. Fans want to be gratified like high school sophomore boys in the sense that they want to go out with a girl that everybody thinks is hot. Don't care if she's a nut job or whatever else. You would just want to be with a hot girl. If you're looking at your football coach and you think you're lucky to have him, Georgia, Texas, some of the others in the league, that's a great thing. If you're looking at your football coach and think he's lucky to have this job, he's not long for this world.
Yeah. And I don't think the latter's the case with him. Like, I remember being at Media Days in Nashville 2 days ago. Gosh, I've already forgotten his name. Zach, their head coach then. The one-year wonder at State.
Oh.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, though, right?
I do.
I mean, that's how memorable it was. We already can't remember his name off the cuff. And I just remember watching him and thinking, this isn't going to work. You listen to the other 15 guys in the room speak, and it doesn't match. He just looked like a deer in the headlights. Jeff Lebby does not have that. And look, maybe it is more easily resurrectable than I think. But I just think when you've got a tough job already, when you're now in a resource competition in a way that has never happened before, you got a school that's gone in big on baseball, and you're seeing the results with that. Does it
Zach
factor in at some point?
His name.
Zach Arnett, yeah. I mean, did you watch his speech at Media Days?
No. I wasn't doing this then. The only reason I'm paying attention to this dog and pony show is because I got to talk about it.
Yeah,
I remember. If I wasn't paid to do this, man, I could care less what all the lies these guys want to hop up there and say behind the podium to yahoos like you and me.
Yeah,
I mean, they think we want to hear.
Right. I remember watching him at the time. I got crap for it, but I was like, this guy's in over his head. It just feels like. And again, 1 year that was it. And now he's a coordinator again. But Jeff, I think they made a much better pick this time around. But I don't know, man. If I'm him, I'm making sure I'm not in a dead end job to start my head coaching career.
Well, that's a tall order for anybody. And dear Lord, you want to talk about a fan base that needs to make certain they buy a program for the season opener. I mean, they brought in like 8 portal D linemen, just D linemen.
Yeah. Well, they were bad there a year ago.
Oh, wretched.
Sean makes a good point. Dan Mullen, hey, after that disaster at Florida, resurrected it to go on to make a good money. I don't know that I'd call Dan Mullen a moron. I mean, look, let's not forget what Dan Mullen did at State. And maybe that's your rebuttal to all of it. Hey, Dan Mullen had Mississippi State number 1 in the country, heading into the time of the year where the leaves turn and fall off the trees. So I'm not saying it's hopeless, but the circumstances are a lot different. And when the resource competition is different now than it was then, you do have to ask some questions.
I was surprised that he failed at Florida. I thought that was going to be hand in glove fit.
Yeah.
Which brings the question, is Dan Mullen or Jackie Sherrill the best coach in state history? Which, ouch. I mean, just ouch. I mean, of course, the answer, I guess, is Ron Polk, but
right.
I mean,
Sherrill won a lot more games over time and was pretty consistent from what I remember. I feel like peak program time was under Mullen. I mean, I still remember what they got the cover of SI, I think, Dak Prescott. Under the format now that exists, I think they would have been a playoff team. Maybe you get there, maybe I don't think the discussion changes anyway because nobody's staying at Mississippi State if you're offered Florida head coaching job. But it is interesting to think about now, like, had the playoff been around then?
I'm about to give you a stat that'll pop your eye out. Jackie Sherrill coached the most games at Mississippi State. He finished his career 75, 75, and 2 in starting.
Oh, yeah. Well, and look, they had that streak of bowl games for a while too. That's not been that long ago. But they kind of had a unicorn too in Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, was on the way to amassing a pretty similar record.
The man, oh man, he was a wonderful guy to interview.
Yeah. But I mean, does that not tell us a little something? Because if we're debating, okay, who's the best coach in your program history? And it's a guy that just got called a complete moron in the chat, a guy that failed at Florida. It's a guy that went 500 for his career, or it's a guy, Mike Leach, that had more success other places than he did at State, where he was just getting by, treading water, getting them to the Liberty Bowl. I feel like that begs some questions and lends a little bit of ammunition to what I threw out there 10 minutes ago.
Ethan, that's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, now Sylvester Croom, he'd end your tenure now. He was a coach killer because he'd win 1 or 2 games a year in the SEC, and those coaches would get fired because they lost to Sylvester Croom.
Yeah. I feel like we're forgetting some people. I'm gonna quick Google search the Mississippi State head coaches.
We're not.
We're
really not.
Right. No, I mean Cheryl was there for a long time. Okay. Let's run it back for a minute. Oh, here's one with Joe Moorhead. That was another one we forgot. Who actually went 14-12. Hey, Mullen was 69-46 there.
Yes.
He was 33-39 in the SEC. Cheryl was 43-59. And I would argue Mullen probably did it at a tougher time.
I think that is fair.
Okay, maybe the answer, well, no, it's not. I was going to say, if you want to go way back, maybe Emory Ballard. But I mean, the point is, it's not a job. The discussion, I mean, exclude Vanderbilt from this. The discussion around greatest coaches at the school looks a lot different there than it does. And like even Kentucky had Bear Bryant, right?
Yes.
I mean,
but Vandy's not going to have to apologize to anybody. McGuinn was great.
Yeah. And see, this is the other part of it. If it does work out, how do you keep your guy? But
you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is honestly, and we've had this conversation earlier this spring on a different platform. It makes a ton of sense for Mississippi State to push its chips behind baseball. I mean,
yeah,
the treadmill of mediocrity is not fruitful in this league because they're never going to catch Texas. They're never going to catch Georgia.
Okay, I'm thinking places where baseball is the biggest thing going or closer to the top of that mountain than everywhere else. I think your list – well, no, we're staying in the SEC, Jay Greeson. Do you remember what the name of this podcast is? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Stay with me now. Okay. I think that list, like football is bigger at LSU, but baseball is your number 2 sport, hands down. Baseball at State is either, well, I think it's still, I think football is the answer everywhere, but baseball's definitely your number 2 at State. Other places where that you have a conversation there are probably Vanderbilt, which again is its own thing, and Arkansas. But the thing with Arkansas is the basketball program is a big thing and has been a big thing before. And by that, I mean Final Fours and national titles. So I think State is kind of a unicorn in the non-Vanderbilt division of the league. But I mean, and look, here's the thing. What they've done on baseball, Jay, we're not getting a baseball conversation today, but man, they've had big results early. Like transfer portal, getting guys through the draft. Like you throw money at stuff and you manage it well, it's going to get results. They're getting results there. So you go, let's say you go and you win a natty next year if you're State with Brian O'Connor. Does the buzz of that around the program give you more grace other places. Because look, when, it's like when you come into the house and your wife or your kid says something to you that normally wouldn't already set you off, right? And then you snap at them. Whereas if you were having a good day, you probably handle it a little differently. When everybody's in a good mood, we tend to overlook other stuff. Is the baseball situation, does it put more pressure on football? Saying, hey, we're winning over here, why we can't win over there? Or does it make everybody feel good enough to where, hey, we're in a better mood when we enter the room of conversation with that?
It may in every other sport, but not Saturdays in the fall.
Okay.
It doesn't matter at the tailgate. No, you're not pulling up a Game Time Sidekick cup with dark liquor in it and going, man, oh man, we kicked everybody's butt in baseball last spring. No.
Yeah.
You're talking about blocking, tackling. Is our quarterback ready to play? Is our coach ready to coach? I mean, and that's just the way it is in this league. I mean, period. Yeah. Next sentence. Yeah, Mississippi State baseball is unbelievably important. It's a great environment. They love them in the spring, but there's still only 7 or 8 Saturdays in the fall that you gather up with your family and you root on those 18 to 23-year-old kids, and we put far too much emotional investment in it, and we let it dictate our mood for the next 36 hours, sadly, because that's us. That's the South. Yeah.
And now, on the other hand, you like, let me finish your thought, then I've got one.
No, I'm good. Go.
Well, I was going to say, the schedule helps you. You start Southern Miss, Arizona State. That one's in Starkville, Alcorn State, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is supposed to be pretty awful this year. You've got a potential 4-0 on the table for you.
Or you've got a world-class nightmare because you lost in Hattiesburg.
Well, that's true. I don't think it's
in their Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could go optimistic or pessimistic under the circumstances. You could go either way really quickly. Because I think you do start 4-0. I don't know that anybody's going to care who it was at that point. It's going to be, the mood's going to be pretty good.
Right. And ironically enough, I just realized this. The logo of my kid's high school, it looks like the Mississippi State logo.
Ha! That's not many that do. And here's another one. You get Tennessee week 5 in Starkville. And Tennessee may be figuring out some quarterback stuff by that point still. So, I mean, I think the schedule actually gives them a little bit better of a path than I thought. Now, look, the back half of that, brutal. But let's say you sneak out 6 wins, and I think FPI had them 4.5. The mood changes pretty quickly.
I agree.
All right. Arch Manning and Josh Heupel yesterday. Who did better at Media Day?
I think they both were good. I don't know degrees of better. I think Arch got plenty of teed up softballs. He felt supremely well prepared. So kudos to the Texas SID crew. And Josh Heupel leaned into the Nico stuff the way you and I talked about on this platform yesterday.
Yeah.
The guys in the room, I'm here to talk about the guys in our locker room, not the guys who used to be in our locker room. And so be it.
Yeah, but he went further than that though. He went on to, I think, to mention him by name and say we love him. We like him, good kid. Like, he didn't. It would have been easier to kind of make your feelings known by avoiding the topic. I think he kind of leaned into it a little bit and basically said, hey, look, and he knows everybody knows what happened. At that point, I thought he did. He even threw some flowers the kid's way. So I give him credit for the way he handled it. Because he didn't have to do that. Nico Iamaleava and his camp were not owed that. He did it anyway. I think what you said, like, Arch Manning had to just show up and not screw it up, right? For Josh Heupel, there's ways that could have gone wrong. I thought he got an A+ for what I saw of it.
Well, I mean, we were throwing flowers his way yesterday. I mean, he's right there with just about anybody in the league in terms of what he's done, especially with what he had to work with when he inherited Jeremy Pruitt's mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that's an AD who deserves some flowers. Danny White has done some work in Knoxville, friend.
Yeah. I don't know that an AD has turned around that many programs in recent memory, programs that matter, than Danny White has. Because, I mean, let's face it, if Tennessee had just face planted for a couple more years in football, we could have said, okay, they took over a mess. They had an AD mess. They had a coach mess. It was what to be expected. Instead, year two, they don't lay a stinker at South Carolina. They're in the playoff.
Yep. When the quarterback got hurt. Now, he got hurt and they were already in a hole, but still your quarterback got hurt.
Yeah. Speaking of which, is there a coach in the league, maybe Clark Lee aside for different reasons, playing more with house money right now than Josh Heupel?
Man, Kirby Smart's on the list of coaches across this league that I'm pretty certain he could walk through downtown Athens and shoot somebody in cold blood, and 10 Georgia fans from Valdosta will take the rap for it.
Okay, yeah, dumb question. But that aside, I mean, I think the list might be him and Lane Kiffin.
Sark.
Well, Sark. Okay, I keep forgetting how many elite coaches are in this league. I'll just strike that one for the record. But the point is, he's in pretty good shape.
Well, those four are the hot women that we all try to date as sophomores in high school. That may be bat bleeping crazy, but everybody wanted to date them because there were Oklahoma smoke shows. So all the fans are looking at those guys going, man, we're lucky to have them.
Well, but see, I could even argue Sark a little bit. Here's where I'm coming. I'm not talking about, okay, and this recruiting probably makes it fall apart, okay? But you could go back and say Texas underachieved a bit last year with the talent. You cannot say the same thing about any season Josh Heupel's had. I mean, I watched Texas play. I thought that was the most talented team in the country.
You underachieved by getting to the title game?
I'm talking the playoffs and all that.
Yeah.
I thought Texas should have boat raced some teams that it didn't a year ago.
Man, that's a tough prism to gauge, that you said Texas had double-digit draft picks for the second straight year, made it to the finals of the playoffs, got to the title game, and they underachieved.
I don't know. Those semifinals, by the way. I was like, did they make the finals? They did not. But they struggled. Like, they needed a miracle to beat an Arizona State that was not team that was not nearly as good as they were.
Yeah, but they had the Skidabo guy.
I know. I'm just saying. I could make an argument last year that Texas could have achieved more than it did. I cannot make the same argument for Tennessee, nor could I make it pretty much any year that Josh Heupel's been there.
Well, okay. I don't think Texas is looking to trade their guy for anybody else. Josh.
No, I'm not saying they would, but I think if you look at through that lens, there's an argument. Anyway, Jay, we're about out of time.
Tell them about ROKFORM, man.
Yeah, ROKFORM. Hey, if you need a cell phone case or golf accessories, man, that's the place to go. ROKFORM.com. No discount code set up yet. Hope to maybe do that, but check out their stuff. If you want to protect your phone, if you want to get a speaker, Bluetooth speaker for golf, their stuff is of the highest quality. You will absolutely love it. You won't do what I did, which is buy cheap phone cases and accessories on Amazon, and then every 6 months buy a new one because it's not well made. So that's why they're here. For Jay Greeson, I'm Chris Lee. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you guys for being here. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you again soon. We'll see you tomorrow at Southeastern 16 with more football content.